Oh, glory to Jesus Christ. Welcome to St. Cyril Methodius Orthodox Church. I'm Father Gregory, the pastor. Good to have you with us here this morning on this very cold Sunday morning here in Madison, Wisconsin. I think it's about 19 or 20 outside this morning. And let's see, it's just about 10 after 8. So we'll have liturgy starting in about an hour and 20 minutes. But I wanted to say good morning and to let you know, hey, we're here, and hopefully you'll be able to join us, if not in person here at St. Cyril Methodius, then certainly online. So don't mind me, my fingers are cold. The heat was on last night here in the church, but it's still pretty chilly. I'll probably have to turn it up just a little bit to the delight, I'm sure, of many. So I've been listening to a lot of the news, seeing a lot about politics, about the election, people all stirred up. And, you know, I keep track of what's going on in Facebook. And I notice that people are engaging in a lot of what I might call predictive language. They're looking at the future and saying, hey, this is going to happen. And I thought about that for a while. And I remember something that one of my professors said in graduate school, Father Von Kamm. And I've mentioned Father Von Kamm before to you. He was a Catholic priest and a clinical psychologist, one of Carl Rogers' students in the 50s. So, you know, a pretty well-respected guy in his time. But one of the things that Father Von Kamm said pertains to predicting the future and pathology. So, you know, the thing about pathology is that it represents dysfunction. It represents the lack of freedom. And so, I mean, a phrase that I'll use sometimes is that pathology runs along train tracks. This is one of the reasons why it is relatively easy to predict the outcome of pathological thinking or behavior, because it precisely because it's not about human freedom, but about just sort of going along with the deterministic forces. The spiritual life is different. The spiritual life is about freedom. It's about the ability to transcend those deterministic elements of our own life. So, and Father Von Kamm's phrase is that the spiritual dimension is the more than dimension. It's the way in which we are more than our biology, more than our culture, more than our sex, more than our economic status. But a lot of people are engaging now in predictive language because they've made, I think, the assumption that the different pathologies they see around them are going to be determinative, that these are the things that are going to happen because these are the things which are really controlling our culture. To be sure, there's a lot to be upset about, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, whether you're liberal or conservative, whether you're a believer in Jesus Christ or not. There's a lot going on there that is distressful. But the spiritual dimension, our spiritual lives are that part of us which precisely resist and make foolish the controlling tendencies of pathology, whether social or psychological. And I think we underestimate that dimension. We see this really bad thing that's going on around us, and it just sort of seems to blot out everything else from our awareness. And we lose sight of the fact that human beings are, at our core, free. And to be sure, that freedom is constricted, sometimes by sin, sometimes always by circumstances. And yet we have always the ability to transcend, to be more than what we see around us. Thing is, that predictive language is really attractive when I am afraid, or if I want to keep you afraid. Predictive language, the assumption that I know what's going to happen tomorrow, is really ultimately not the language of hope, but of fear. The fact of the matter is, hope says, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I know it's going to be different, and I know because my Redeemer lives that it will be good, even if it will be hard. So what we see around us, especially in the political realm these days, is not just predictive language, but fear, the absence of charity, and especially despair. People have given themselves over in large measure to despair, to the idea that tomorrow is not going to be better. Tomorrow is not going to be good. That everything that is going to be forever, and we are just doomed. The fact that many of the people who say that aren't believers is tragic but understandable. That many of the people who say this are Christians, however, is inexcusable. We are Christians, and we know that with Julian of Norwich, that all will be well, and all will be well, and all will be well. Not easy, not pleasant, but well. Things will be good, because the will of God will be made manifest. Do we face challenges as a nation? Do we face challenges as communities and in our personal lives? Absolutely. But we who are in Jesus Christ need to remember that things will be well for all that they are difficult. That doesn't mean we should stop trying to improve the situation, or to make laws which are just, or to treat others with kindness. But we need to understand that the power of sin and death, the power of pathology, does not have the last word in our lives, because sin does not have the last word in our lives. The last word in our lives, like the first word in our lives, is that statement from God, I love you. So, my brothers and sisters in Christ, bad stuff going on around us? Absolutely. Hopeless? Absolutely not. Because Jesus. Well, it is just 8:15 now, and liturgy starts about an hour and a quarter, so I better go get ready for that. Hope you're able to join us later this morning. Again, if you're not able to be here in person, understandable, but if you're watching us online, that's lovely. It's good to have you with us virtually, if not in the real world. If you are watching online, give us a thumbs up or a heart, or ask a question, make a comment, just so we know you're there. And hopefully we'll be able to reach out and have a conversation about things. But I better go get ready. So God bless everyone, and I'll see you in about an hour and a quarter. Bye-bye.